of the courthouse, and the sirens go off. I'd ask you to please rise for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Just notice to the public, the Board of Supervisors welcomes comments from the public during the time allowed for discussion. You are requested to approach the microphone, state your name for the record, and limit the time used to present your remarks in order that others may be given the opportunity to speak. The normal process on any agenda item is for the chairperson to read the item from the agenda. The board is given an opportunity to comment on the issue and or place a motion on the floor. An opportunity for discussion may be presented, at which time the public may participate, and a roll call will follow. I would entertain a motion on the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve the agenda as printed.
Mr. Chairman, I'd second that.
All right, you got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Patton.
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Item number 2 is a Years of Recognition Award going out to a guy that's been in the secondary roads for 15 years, Mark Hiddiches. And Mark, if you'd like to come up, and we'd like to present this to you. And it's always an honor to visit with a guy and talk with a gentleman that can always help us out whenever we need it. A good correlation with working with Paul. And again, when we need something, we can go to either one of you guys to do the comments. 15 years, it's remarkable. Any more than anybody lasts in an area without going somewhere else in 15 years. So from all of us and the Board of Supervisors, we want to say thank you, Mark, and thank you for your support with the county. And congratulations on 15 years of work. What's been your most memorable thing that you've done in 15 years?
No, there's been quite a few projects we've done.
It's been good.
Yeah, I guess the big project has been having acres road.
Yeah, I'll make the room, yeah. Well, congratulations on getting that done, so I use it every day, and give a little appreciation. And you guys want to take a picture? I always hate to alert the press, because, can you bring your camera? Toothbrush? Well, in case we get snowed in, we can't get out. We'll make this official presentation. Get around here. Get around here so he can.
Great.
Is the lens cap off? Was the lens cap off? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 3, the consent, or excuse me, number 3, the consent agenda. In the consent agenda, we've got approval of the minutes from regular session of November 17th, 2015. Approve the fiscal year 2015 annual urban renewal report, and approve claims as audited, and authorize the county auditor and recorder to issue payment of the same. The listing of claims paid at this meeting will be included with all claims paid for the month of December. The December list of claims will be part of the first meeting in January, and I would entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the consent agenda as printed.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Patton.
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, moving on to the 6th item. This is approved personnel action. This is a change of status and change rate of pay. Austin Ewalt, Secondary Road Department. Change of status from Mechanic 2 to Mechanic 3. Change of rate pay from $24.09 to $24.26, effective November 17th, 2015. And Paul, I'll let you explain how all this transpired.
I figured I would have to talk to this one. It's really just a confusion on my part, because what we were doing is just changing Austin's, it's the status of the pay that he gets when he is working as the mechanic, in that mechanic role. It is not changing his regular standard pay. So we didn't really need board action to do this, because if he's working as mechanic, he will be paid as Mechanic 3 for just those hours. But it's not a change of permanent status in his employment. So it was really something I shouldn't have even put on the agenda, and it's just a matter of clarifying that for the record.
With our union contracts, I think it allows anybody to do that.
Yes, if he's qualified as mechanic 3 and he's functioning as mechanic 3, those hours that he's working he is paid that wage.
Okay, because if I remember right, we have somebody in the office that is capable of going out and operating equipment in a
We-
needed basis also.
We do, but he's an engineer tech.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we rescind this personnel action approved at the November 17th, 2015 Board of Supervisors meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I'd second that motion.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Patton.
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
The next one, under approved personnel action is a hire. This is Lori Martin, Audit and Recorder's Office, full-time Audit and Recorder Assistant, $18 per hour, effective December 1, 2015. And Deanne, I don't know if you want to say anything on Lori?
I would, yes. This is a hire in my office that Lori is bringing a lot of experience to our department. She'll be able to immediately walk in and be able to help out with budgets and that type of thing, because that's what she's done in the past for the 13 years of experience. So I'm really excited to see how things change in our office with having this experience coming in.
Well, again, you've done a lot of restructuring in the office, and you moving up to Audit and Recorder, that position was really never filled. And with everything else you restructured, this is kind of more of a lateral move, I think, and filling staff is what.
Yep.
It is, it is.
And we applaud you for your changes. You haven't rushed in and done it immediately. You've analyzed it and seen what you needed, and I think this will be a very good fit. And that being said, Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve this personnel action.
Mr. Chairman, I would second that.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Patton.
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Moving on to item C, this is change of status and change of pay for Jessica Lampy, Sheriff's Office, change of status from jailer to jail supervisor 1, and change rate of pay from $18.01 an hour to $18.01 to $18.01 hour plus 175 month stipend. This is effective December 1, 2015.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve this personnel action.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second. For discussion, do we want to explain any of the stipend?
I'll make just a short comment on the stipends. Anytime that the sheriff has moved somebody into a position that has gone to supervisory, the stipend is allowed to for that person in a temporary manner to be able to find out if that position is going to work out for them and the sheriff. So it's a stipend. Once the position becomes permanent, I believe Chad changes it to a supervisory capacity.
All right, roll call, please.
Patton.
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, item D, change of status and change rate of pay for Kyle Ellison. The Sheriff's Office, change of status from jailer to jail supervisor 1, and change rate of pay from $19.42 an hour to $19.42 an hour plus a $175 stipend effective December 1, 2015.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve this personnel action.
Mr. Chairman, I'd second that.
All right, we got a motion, a second, and again, just another one of those that change
Yep.
to that supervisor.
Same
1
exact
position.
thing.
Yes. Roll call, please.
Patton.
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
And item E, change of status and change of rate of pay, Wendell Melizer, Sheriff's Office, change of status from jailer to jail supervisor 2, and the change rate of pay from $21.80 to $53,000. Let's see that, $53,338.32 a year. This will be effective December 1, 2015.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve this personnel action.
Mr. Chairman, I second that.
A motion and a second. Again, this is just a little bit different, but again, it's still going from jailer to supervisor 2. So again, it's all paid. This is all through the union contract, and that's the way it just sounds a little different than the other one. But roll call, please.
Patton.
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
And item D, change of status and change rate of pay for Kent Hayes, secondary roads, change of status from truck driver 1 to truck driver 2, and change rate of pay from $23.09 to $23.41 a year, effective December 1, 2015. I entertain a motion on this line.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve this personnel action.
And Mr. Chairman, I'd second that.
We've got a motion and a second. And again, this is taken off the probationary.
Yes, it's just by contract. And it's
Yes. Okay.
just they're brought on as truck driver 1, and then after a probationary period where they show their skills and we have confidence in what they can operate, they go to truck driver 2.
Okay.
And I
'Cause he-
believe we have a typo on there. I'm guessing that Kent will not want $23.41 a year.
Yeah, that
For
year
this.
should have.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
well, if we can squeeze it through, you
Yeah.
know. It is budget
I'm
time,
guessing we would see him.
but
this
I
week.
don't think we're going to get that one.
$23.09 an hour to $23.41 an hour. We'll make sure that gets changed. In
Yep.
Okay.
Is there a time period we have to go by with the union contractor, just when he shows his proficiency?
It's not a set time, it's just based on mine and the superintendent's judgment on what they see, because different employees have different levels of experience prior to even coming to us. So
Okay.
some get there a lot quicker than others, and
All right. Roll call, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Gravenbauer,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Moving on to item number 7, Marshall County audit. Proposals for the annual audit of Marshall County for the fiscal year July 1, 2016 through June 30th, 2018. They were opened at the regular session at the board meeting of November 17th. This was a tabled item, and we just need to get it back on the table.
Okay, in that regard, then, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we remove from the table this action.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second. I'll give you time to change, write your line item in there.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, now, we need a motion for the audit from July 1, 2016 to June 30th of 2018.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we accept the proposal from the audit for July 1st, 2016 to June 30th, 2018. This is to get it on the table so we can discuss it. We going to take the recommendation from the auditor after she lets us know what her thoughts are.
We got a motion by Thompson.
We really don't have a company to put in there until we get the recommendation, but we need to get this on the table so we can discuss it.
Yep.
Okay. That's the way we want to do this, then?
Unless you want to do it slightly different with Robert's Rules of Order.
Well, as long as we all understand, I guess. It
Yep.
doesn't really
We're
matter.
not-
We're just
not
getting it back on the
approving-
table.
I would-
We'll come back and change the
Yeah,
motion
okay.
after the auditor's recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I'd second that, then.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? So are we gonna get your recommendation now?
Yes.
We're gonna vote on it, okay.
And then I'm going to change my
Okay.
motion.
And then they'll
Okay.
change the motion
Yeah.
after
Yep.
you know who it
I'll
is.
amend my motion.
Okay.
Because of the fact that we were sending out things ahead of time, that wouldn't make sense for everybody to know who I was choosing prior
Sure,
to.
I
Is
understand.
kind of my thought. So what I've decided is to go still with Bowman and Miller. The reasoning is I did some calculations and some different things. They are on the higher side, but what they give us during the year, and if we were to try to change anything now, the amount of time and money spent in our offices, and that would be around the whole county, would be exponential compared to what we would be saving in the end. Especially with having another software upgrade completely being done at this point too. It doesn't make sense to be doing that at this time. So I will be giving it to Bowman and Miller is my recommendation.
There was quite a difference in pricing. And the one company, I think out of Oskaloosa.
Atumwa was actually
Atumwa,
one of the
okay.
lowest ones.
Yeah.
Now that was one, did you figure out, I mean, that was the lowest one, but we figured if, all the times they'd have to run up here.
My concern there was with somebody new coming in, the amount of hours they would be going back and forth
Yes.
and putting in to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, that the additional expense would actually exceed the difference in the price of the two quotes, to where I would have to agree with Deanne, without question. The service we've received from Bowman and Miller has been exemplary.
But they're kind of like right across the street.
And they're across the street. Our access to them, not only from the board's perspective, but for everybody in the auditor's department is unparalleled.
Well, they're
And
charged- they're
there's no
charged-
charge for travel.
Yeah, they're charged with mileage plus
Hours,
time.
yeah.
Okay.
I think we would have actually been higher taking the lower bid when you factored in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
The,
yeah.
the net cost, we would, this is one of those strange things, by taking the higher bid, our net cost is actually going to be less.
Okay, then do you want to
That being said, Mr. Chairman, I motion that we accept the proposal from the county auditor from Bowman and Company for the audit from July 1st, 2016 to June 30th, 2018.
You know, this would be an amendment to our first motion, right?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I second that amendment.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Ravenbauer,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right.
No, we need to vote on the motion as amended, which sounds redundant.
But it is proper.
But that ties it all in, so 20 years from now, when your
Tie
grandson
it
looks at
in.
it, it will be right.
Tie it in, Mr.
Nobody will be
Tie it in.
questioning Robert's Rules of Orders if we do it that way.
All right, I would entertain a motion.
Well, the motion is there, but we're just ready to vote now for the motion as amended, which would be the Bowman-Miller.
Correct.
So
Okay.
we'll just we just have to ask for the
Roll call.
roll call, yeah.
Yeah. Patton,
Yes.
Ravenbauer,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Anything else, Mr. Patton?
You did well.
Okay, moving on to item number 8, lease farm ground bid letting. It's that time of the.
Every other year.
Every other year again, that we're setting the date and the time of Tuesday, January 12th, 2016 at 9 a.m. in meeting room number 2 for the receiving of bids for the Marshall County farm lease in sections 9 and 10 in townships 83 North, range 19 West, Washington Township, beginning March 1st, 2016 for a new 2-year lease term.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to move this, and I'm going to read the whole thing again. It's going to sound
Okay.
redundant again,
No.
but then it's going to be in our motion then. Mr. Chairman, I move to set the date and time of Tuesday, January 12, 2016 at 9 a.m. in the meeting room number 2 for the receipt of bids for the Marshall County farm lease in sections 9 and 10 in Township 83 North, Range 19 West, Washington Township, beginning March 1, 2016 for a 2-year lease term. Bid packets available upon request in the boardroom, in the Board of Supervisors office, 1 East Main Street, 3rd floor, southeast corner of the courthouse, or the Marshall County website at www.co.marshall.ia.us on main page under News, Print, and Complete.
Mr. Chairman, I will second that.
We got a motion and a second. Discussion. I would just like to say that the packets, again, we will reiterate on that, the packets are available on the county website. And be prepared for a long, it's quite an extensive download. So you'll get it, but it just, and James, if you need to chime in and help me out, you can. But we tried downloading it yesterday. It isn't extensive, but there's a lot of there. But the packet is available in our supervisor's office. So we encourage people, and we'll be opening those, and one of the 3 of us will be being the auctioneer once again this year. So any other discussion?
I think we're good.
Some of the material will be the lease itself, and then all the things about the farm, soil samples, tile lines, so that's why there's quite a little bundle there.
Okay. All right. Roll call, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Ravenbauer,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, moving on to item number 9, Marshalltown Public Library We've got Sarah Rosenblum, Director of the Marshtown Public Library, and this is the time of the year we get to hear the annual report for the Marshall County Libraries. The Marshall County Library representatives also be in attendance. So, ladies, the floor is yours.
I guess I'll do a handout for you guys. We finished the other day.
Thank you.
You,
Would you like to introduce the people that are here too?
I will do that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, hi, good morning, I'm Shelley Barron, I'm the director of the Pioneer Heritage Library in LeGrand, and I will say I've been there 25 years in June. If you ask Denny, I started when I was 10.
So
I
don't
wanted-
ask me.
Don't ask you, no. So this is our time to give an annual report and discuss financing options for the coming year and that. We have Sarah Rosenblum from the Marshtown Public Library. We have Julie Eccles, nope, I've got the maiden name again there, I'm sorry. Ort, Julia from the Albion Public Library. And we have Marla Edler from the State Center, the Goodikins Public Library. And we have Sarah Mechtel from the Melbourne Public Library. And Sarah is brand new. She's been there 6 months, 8 months. And Mara is kind of back at State Center, so she's kind of new to the directorial position. I did send out a packet. You guys hopefully got it yesterday on all of our statistics. If you ever want to look up anything on any of the libraries in the whole state, you can go to the state website, state library website, and look up, and you can get hours open, expenses, income, circulation, collection, anything like that. So we all will also drop off our, we fill out an annual report every year, and it's sent to the state library. And I also have Gilman, since she was unable to come this morning. And it's a nice 17-page long report where all of our statistics go in to the state library. And from this, we come up with a funding formula for requesting money from the county. We are all public libraries, city public libraries. There are a few county libraries in the state. I think there's only 3 or 4. We are a public library in a city, but we also receive county funding. This is mandated through the Iowa Code that we receive both city and county funding. We go from a small library like Laurel or Gilman up, of course, to Marshalltown. We're open different hours at different times for all of us. Most of us have hours that are set towards our regular community, what works best for them. Marshalltown was very lucky to pass their levy the first time, and I know one of the things they'll be doing, it'll be open on Sunday afternoon. From someone that's been in a library that's been open on Sunday afternoon since we started, it's a very busy time. It'll be very well attended. It's a good family time. You get the kids that go, oh my God, I've got a report due Monday morning. A lot of people like to do it. We get a lot of families in where the kids can play with the puppets and that and read stories to each other, and the parents are on the computer reading the magazines or whatever. As for being busy, libraries are still very busy. The internet did not kill us. I saw a t-shirt the other day that said, Yahoo, Google can give you 100,000 answers, a librarian can give you the correct answer. And that's still true to this day. In addition to basic internet, most of us purchase databases that allow us to search areas in the internet that are not available to people that use Google or Yahoo searches. We have to buy these databases, but we can find articles from magazines from as obscure as a nursing magazine from 1979 or something. So we're able to do a lot of that way. Circulation, our numbers are down a little bit this year. One of the reasons, although for someone that has to drive 10, 12 miles to work, it didn't seem like this last winter was hazardous to me, because I have been upside down in a ditch once. But it just seemed like it was just an annoying cold and that, and we just kind of had a lower circulation than that. Also, Melbourne had an issue where they didn't have any staff, so they were closed for quite a while. So, of course, their circulation has been down. But on a whole, we're very busy. We do a lot of different things. Story time, that's what everybody always thinks of with libraries. We do homework help. We help people with internet searches. A lot of people still don't even know how to do internet searches. Resumes, job searches. There's the Learning Express. There's also the iWorkforce Development website. A lot of people with that. I had a woman in a couple of weeks ago that had done a resume off of the iWorkforce Development website, and it basically plugged in everything that she could do in every single column, and she had this like 3-page resume, and it was just the same thing over and over and over again, and she wasn't very computer literate, so I worked with her for quite a while to get it down and get it in the right thing and that. Some of the few things that we've done at LeGrand that might sound a little odd, but they're the things that we just consider part of our normal library existence is, I had a gentleman in they were refinancing their house with the Bank of England in California, and he didn't have internet access. He didn't know how to scan anything. He wasn't sure even when to get it signed and that, so I spent quite a bit of time scanning and sending and scanning and sending and getting that so he could finally get his refinancing done. Have a gentleman that came in who has passed his naturalization test back in August. 200 questions, let me tell you, I don't think anybody in here could pass that, but he hasn't heard anything. So we came up with a letter and found out who he's sending it to, and he's gotten that off in the mail and told me that they're having a party when he gets his naturalization, and I'll be asked to come to the party, so that's good. Just a lot of different things that we do, and I think we'll give the other librarians who want to talk about that some opportunity to funny things or interesting things that they've done. We do get some state funding. It's not very much, and I know they're reviewing our Enrich Iowa for our state funding. Also, our state funding is earmarked to be above and beyond our normal operating income in that. It's for things that we normally couldn't afford to do. We all are involved with reading with the children. We have a summer reading program. We had, I think, 70 kids registered. I don't know, Marshalltown had 300 or 1,200, okay, quite a bit. So that's quite a deal. As you know, if kids don't read over the summer, their reading level goes down. So we need to keep those kids reading, coming to the library, and we do that through reading logs and programs and just fun things for the kids to do. It's really exciting to see a little kid come in and get their first library card. I mean, they're just ear-to-ear smiles, and they've got their stack of books and are just so excited. Whoops. Some other things, interlibrary loans, we do those. If we don't have a book, we can find it for you. I don't know if anybody remembers Rick, is it Dines? Is that D-E at the TR? He wrote an article on the importance of libraries and discussed how the first book he remembered checking out was Yusuf the Ostrich from the library in Eldora back in the 40s. And he didn't have the correct spelling or anything, didn't have an author, so I, just as a lark, researched that, found the correct title. It was written in 1943. It's about an ostrich that saves North Africa from the Nazis. And I interlibraried and loaned it, and I got it from a small university in North Carolina. So Rick was pretty excited to see that book. I just recently interlibrary loaned a book on concrete standards and specifications. So I mean, it can be anything. It can be a 1979, Gothic romance up to an ACT test book or something. So we do quite a bit of that. We are available to get those things. We all work together as best we can. With the disparity in sizes, it doesn't always work out that we can do a lot. We do share programs, especially during the summer library program. If we can book a presenter, like a lot of us do the Blank Park Zoo, they come and visit, and we can share mileage costs, so that works out. When we have our county meetings, we try to have continuing ed classes or some type of a thing so we can get a little bit of CEU credits that way. Blank Park Zoo, if the kid can leave that they've touched an alligator, let me tell you, that's the high point of those kids this summer. The parents and grandparents, no, they're not touching any of the animals. We did a bunch of programs this year for adults. The only way we were able to pay for this was we had a grant from the Community Foundation and the Martha Ellen Ty Foundation. But we had a baseball program. And for those of you who've never seen a Mickey Mantle second year card, it's pretty cool. He was great. We've had Monuments Man. I think Marshalltown is having it or has had it. Lots of different ways that way, programs for adults and teens. So we all keep very busy. Now to the funding thing. What we have done historically is we take from our statistics, and these will be from the 14-15 statistics, we take everybody's expenses, total expenses, excluding capital expenses, total them up. We take everybody's circulation statistics to whether it's city or rural or whatever, and we also take their rural circulation statistics. So we add up all the expenses and we come up with a number that's based off of that, and then we take, and so last year operating expenses $1,309,243. Our total circulation was $304,654. So if you divide that up, you get a cost per circulation of $4.29. Now, as I've already stated, we all do other things other than circulation, but circulation is the one thing that we all do the same and we can all count, and it's a number that we can look at to judge the viability of our libraries. And that gives us a circulation cost of $4.29. And then we take our rural circulation, which is $36,626, multiply that by $4.29, and we come up with the costs in 14-15 of $157,125 to circulations to rural residents. And since we're working with 16-17, we're actually looking at 2 years ahead. So we just figured in a 4% increase of a request of $163,410. The last thing that I figured is 12% of the total circulation comes from rural residents, but yet we only receive 5% of our funding comes from county funding. So we have less than half the amount of funding we get for the people that we serve. And it's been very difficult to work with funding for us because it's not necessarily you can't go and say, okay, we're going to buy a motor grader in 5 years and it's going to cost X amount of dollars. We're looking more at a donation to fund what our services are. And I did send out a list that shows that we have had the same donation funding from the county for the past 6 years, and the last 5 years we've received no increase. And we've been left being told that, well, we're lucky it didn't get decreased, which of course we're very lucky it's not decreased. But we'd also like to be lucky enough to say that it's increased in the extent to meet some of our expenses that we provide to the rural patrons. See what else I've got money-wise. The other thing we've done, and I know it's hard to compare, like if you just say, well...
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How many of your individual libraries have a levy from their own communities?
Two, Albion.
Albion and
Yeah.
Marshalltown?
Mhm.
Okay.
And that levy is to go in, that it is not to take up slack of previous funding. It's supposed to be for current things.
So
an
if somebody,
enhancement to their funding.
if somebody comes from one of the other rural communities, an incorporated community, and checks out a item from the Marshalltown Library, is that considered
Rural or
a county individual, or is that considered from another town? As far as your statistics go, Sarah?
all our statistics would be the same way.
Yeah, it depends on, Sarah Rosenblum, Marshalltown Public Library Director. Depending on what community, so there are the 7 libraries in Marshall County. So we either, have you listed in our computer as if you live in Marshalltown, you live in LeGrand. If you live in Ferguson or Haverhill, they contract with Marshalltown Library. But if you live otherwise in rural Marshall County, then we get a check mark for that. So, but we do keep statistics of everybody's home. So we know, for instance, that we circulated, I believe, 27,000 items to non-Marshalltown residents. But we keep track of everybody because we have to report that to the state.
Okay, but everybody outside of Marshalltown is considered county then?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. But
Or
then,
in the county.
yeah, but then they're either the city or they're rural Marshall County. So, and we do provide a great deal of service to rural rural Marshall County residents like the other small libraries do, so.
Yeah, and so if you look at Sarah's statistics or anybody's statistics, you could see what they check out to rural residents of Marshall County, what they check out to their own city, what they check out to LeGrand, Albion, Melbourne, anything like that. So we do keep their specifically rural patrons. And then, of course, once you get outside the county, they're not considered rural patrons. So we just deal with the rural residents that contribute tax money that goes into the Rural Services Fund. The other thing that we do is, we've said previous years, you know, looking at the different central Iowa counties and how much money that they receive from the county. Grundy County, 129,000, almost 130,000. Jasper, 151,000. A little old Marshalltown at 69,000.
You know, I guess I'm just gonna
Yeah.
stop you and just say, we don't care,
Okay,
because I tell you what, we worry about the Marshall
Right,
County
right,
taxpayers. Our 41,000 people is what we worry about.
exactly. What I'm just saying,
And
is
we
when you
see
get,
statistics all the time, whether it's secondary roads,
Right.
whether it's with the IT departments, and quite honestly, this board does not take that into effect, because we gotta
What
run
to
our
deal
own
with
ship
what you
right
have,
here.
right.
We're not gonna get in a race to be
right,
compared
right.
to
I will
another
just show you that you
organization.
do have on that the millage rate and the per capita, so it does kind of
And we see
show-
all that, yeah.
Yeah, it does show a little bit better what it is. Other than that, I can't think of anything. Does anybody have any questions about our funding request or anything, or how libraries work?
I think you
Anything new?
guys do an exceptional job.
Thank
know,
you.
with the libraries in Marshall County. You know, since I've been serving on this board, we've always kind of said, what innovation can the libraries do to maybe raise some revenue? You know, and we just saw what the Marshalltown Library done by establishing a levy.
Mm-hmm.
We know that Albion
Had a-
has
yes,
a
Larry.
levy. Why don't LeGrand go for a levy?
Right now, we are looking at a possible building project, so we're looking at that more than we are a levy right now. Levies are difficult to pass. I was very surprised, and very happy that Marshalltown did it. There are a lot of communities that don't do it. The other thing is, that is city money, once again, that is going in, that's city tax money. So once again, you've got the city residents' tax money funding the library. It's not doing the equitable funding that we should receive from both the county and the city. It seems like city tax money helps, and it seems like maybe county tax money could help a little more.
Through the course of the 4 years, that there's been no increases with, with the county, because we're trying to hold and maintain. What has salaries been in your libraries?
Increases.
Personally, I'd say we might have a 2%. I didn't take any, I refused a raise last year. I think most of us probably deal with a small increase that way. We're pretty, I say we'll have to be as fiscally frugal as just about any other
As
entity
all
that we
of
can
us,
be.
and all of
Yep,
us, yeah.
exactly. You just have to these days. So, the other question I have is, I'll just bring it up, that we did talk about line 21. It seems to be that money's being expended in that budget line quite a bit, and the library portion has just stayed the same. And I know it depends on, there's some money that has to go into a certain fund to be spent that way. But it seems like, if you look at the numbers, we could be expecting an increase pretty soon, hopefully.
We've been trying to maintain with all of our outside organizations and with Central Iowa Fair, and help me, I'm drawing a blank, we got Central Iowa Fair.
Youth and social
libraries, youth and
services.
social services. We've been trying to maintain, as everybody knows, the property values are going down, our tax monies
Tax rollback, yep.
and so the pot is actually getting smaller and smaller. We feel, I guess, over the last few years, I feel that we've been very fortunate to keep our funding even, rather than have to do, because you look at offices, we're 2 and 3 people down in an office. She gets one person back. I know he's a couple people short. James down in IT is 2, maybe 3 people short. So it's not that we're sitting on money and not giving it out.
No, we realize
We are
that.
doing everything we can to, you know, to balance this pot that keeps getting smaller and smaller,
Right.
so.
And we're just trying to let you know that our expenses keep going and everything.
And so do ours.
So, yeah,
so
so
do
we
ours.
have, you know, it's all an issue that way. So,
Yeah.
any other questions on anything? You guys? All right, well, thank you.
Well,
Thank
Like I
you,
said,
very
if they
good.
don't have, if you don't have their report, they'll be sending it to you.
Okay.
We've
thank
got
you.
it.
Thank you.
There's one more.
Thank you very much.
Yep,
Thank you.
yep.
All right, moving on now to public forum. This is time set aside for the public to make comments on topics of county business. Business other than those listed on this agenda. No action will be taken on any of these topics brought up in the public forum. Any public? No public? You got anything to say? You never have anything to say. Bill?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, our next item is the adjournment. The next regular session is scheduled for December 15th, 2015 at 9 a.m. All business to be acted upon at that session should be submitted to the county auditor and recorder's office or the board of supervisors office by Thursday, December 10th, 2015 at 1 p.m. There be no further business to come before the board. We are adjourned at 9:41.